Commencing program in 3, 2, 1. Hello everybody, my name's the Zero Man, and welcome to an old classic. If you remember 8 months ago, which you probably don't, considering I'm pretty much the only one who remembers, but I did a series for a while called Countdown to Zero. So, I'm reviving it. And what better game to revive it than one that's causing constant controversy? A game known as Dev Tycoon. So, what is Dev Tycoon? It is a 2D simulation game, basically from the start, not of gaming in general, like arcade and Atari 2600, but from basically early PC gaming, Commodore 64 onward. And it does a fairly good job. I've had tons of fun with it. It is fairly simplistic though, sadly. It actually doesn't have that much going for it, to be 100% honest. You see these little bubbles going. Yeah. That's all it takes to do any kind of work in this game. I was actually hoping for a little bit more involvement in making things and actually developing the games, developing artwork maybe. That would have been nice to develop artwork. That would have been awesome. Like, not big stuff, but just, you know, some kind of pixely artwork for it. I don't know. Anyway, it does have research and development, which is over here, which you could do different tech with. It has also a hardware lab you could research, which allows you to develop your own console, which mine is up here, the Firestar. It's not the first console I've developed, but it is currently the one I am running, and it is the most popular console as far as this game goes. But I want to touch upon two controversies, one being the fact that pirated copies of this game have a nice little bit of programming in it that causes pirates to destroy your company. I just want to say thank you to Greenheart Gaming for designing this, because it's combating piracy with humor and irony. So, I approve of this message. But as far as the second controversy, which is this game being a clone of an earlier game known as Game Dev Story. Game Dev Story was a game originally made in Japan for PC in 1997 and then redone in 2010, I think it was, for iOS and Android. Now, if you look, it actually has the same exact style of gameplay. It has the same mechanics. The only thing it doesn't have is the graphical qualities, because the graphical quality is about NES. But on this, it's much smoother, it's better looking. It's not beautiful, but it works. So, here comes my rant. At the beginning, it's very easy to appeal to the review board, and you'll see that here once we get Nuclear Dawn done, that there's a review board that's for companies that come in and look at your game, give it a score between 1 and 10. Now, at the very beginning, it's easy to do this. All you have to do is kind of move around your bars and how you develop a game, and it's simple. But once you start getting lots of tech, you need so much time in like one different section to get that tech working 100%, that it takes away from other things, and if you have too much tech, it drags that percentage way down, but if you don't have that tech, it's not seen as a good game. And the game doesn't clearly express itself how to do anything. Basically, the game tells you how to... Actually, no, it doesn't even tell you how to market. It tells you you can market, that you can get audiences, and basically how to make a game. But it doesn't tell you how to make a good game. And in all honesty, this is a massive oversight. I want to know how to make the best game. You don't have to be horribly specific, but I would like to at least have some kind of inherent idea. But next up being, this game is lacking two of the largest topics ever made in gaming. Now, what are these topics? It is first-person shooter and platformer. Neither exist. Considering that the entire PlayStation, Nintendo 64 era was defined by the platformer, the 3D platformer, the fact that the NES started off with the platformer, if you've ever played the original Super Mario Brothers, which I'm guessing you probably have, and if you look at modern consoles, which are defined by Call of Duty, by Battlefield, by Far Cry, a bunch of first-person shooter games that started off with Doom, and you completely ignore that they existed. That just irks me beyond all belief, not only on top of the fact that this game might be cloned off another, but it's possible that they came to this conclusion on their own. Now, here's just a few other problems with this game. The fact that it crashes. When I say it crashes, I don't mean the entire game goes down. I mean that all of your workers stop working for really no explicit reason. They just stop. And time will keep going. It'll keep ticking by. You'll keep getting subtracted money, but your workers will be doing nothing. This is not acceptable. Considering it takes a relog of the game to actually fix it, this is unacceptable. It just is. The fact that the game gives you no clear indication on how to make a good game at any point is unacceptable. And honestly, I've played this game tons. I've played the crap out of this game lately. I have had so much fun just sitting back and watch these little bubbles going. And it's extremely relaxing for me. It is. It really is. I love it. But I take so many issues with it. I can't, in good faith, say it's a beautiful game. In fact, I'm going to say this. I'm going to give 2 scores. I'm going to give a score to Game Dev Tycoon, which is the game you're seeing, and Game Dev Story, which is the iPhone Android version of... I would say version of this game, but that's not the correct term. It's more... I don't know exactly how to explain it, but I'll just throw it out there. This game, it lacks pretty much any kind of a tech tree. There's about 5 things you could research. That's it. Hardware is sorely lacking when it comes into the console department. The amount of tech that's missing that you could have thrown into the game, that you could have researched, not there. There is quite a lot of tech, but there isn't enough to suit me. They're missing some of the major genres that have ever existed. Completely gloss over them, act like they never existed. The fact that they completely skip over like certain generations of consoles. Now I know this is more of a gripe by just for myself, but they completely skip over the Game Boy Advance. They have the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy DS, but the Advance doesn't exist. And that does irk me, because why are you going to make this series of progress if you're not going to acknowledge one of the games in that entire era? Just... So, in all honesty, I love this game. I am having a heck of a good time with it. But I honestly cannot, in good faith, give it over a 5. I really can't. I have to say, Game Dev Tycoon is a 4 out of 10. It is below average. It is made by 2 men, but considering the fact that the game freezes and your characters do nothing, your character will do nothing if he starts scratching his head, and for no reason. If he starts scratching his head, nothing gets produced for weeks at a time, or possibly even months, depending on how long he scratches his head. The fact that I am running a high-end gaming rig... Yes, and that would be the random stupid crashing that goes on with this game. If you noticed, my rant just ended there. So it's crap like that. It's crap like that. And this game, it's a 4. It's below average, and it's $8 at greenheartgames.com. If you want a better game, if you want a halfway decent version of this game that is not as buggy, that is fairly good, and that has more expansive consoles and designs and tech trees, get Game Dev Story on the iPhone and Android. Game Dev Story is $3 compared to Game Dev Tycoon's $8, and it is a superior game. It's less buggy, more fun, more to do in it. It costs less. And it's just an all-around better game to me. So I said I'd give 2 scores, and I will. Game Dev Story is a 6 out of 10. It is slightly above average. It's still a casual iPhone Android game, but it's not a bad casual iPhone Android game. This game, though, this game is bad. It could be better. It could be better. I see where they're going with it. I see that it could be good, but it's just really not. And there's no coming back from that. So if you guys want to go pick up Game Dev Tycoon, it is $8 on greenheartgames.com. It was developed by 2 guys. But if you want to pick up the iPhone Android version, I would wholeheartedly endorse your purchase. And it is $3 on the App Store for both Android and iPhone, like I've said multiple times now. And I would love for you guys to go out and support Game Dev Story, not Game Dev Tycoon. Please, do not get this game unless you like really short, really buggy games. Because that's what this game is. So that's my rant for the day. So until next time, I've been the Zero Man, and you have all been wonderful.